In a narration found in Sunan Abu Dawood, number 4297, the Holy Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, warned that a day would soon come when other nations would attack the Muslim nation, and even though they would be great in number, they would be deemed insignificant by the world. Allah, the Exalted, would remove the fear of Muslims from the hearts of the other nations. This would occur because of the Muslim nations' love for the material world and their hatred for death. The companions, may Allah be pleased with them, were small in number, yet they overcame entire nations, whereas the Muslims today are greater in number, yet have no social or political influence in the world. This is because the companions, may Allah be pleased with them, lived their lives according to the teachings of Islam, thereby favoring and preparing for the hereafter over enjoying the lawful pleasures of this world. They used the blessings they were granted in ways pleasing to Allah, the Exalted. Whereas, most of the Muslims today have adopted the opposite mindset. It is important to understand that the root of all sins is the love of the material world. This is because any sin which is committed is done out of love and desire for it. The material world can be split into four aspects: fame, fortune, authority, and one's social life, such as their relatives and friends. It is in the excess pursuit of these things which lead to sins, such as earning unlawful wealth out of love for fortune. It is why a narration found in Jami' at-Tirmidhi, number 2376, warns that love for wealth and authority is more destructive to one's faith than the destruction two hungry wolves would cause if they were let loose on a herd of sheep. Whenever people seek the excess of these aspects of the material world, it always leads to disobedience of Allah, the Exalted. When this occurs, the mercy of Allah, the Exalted, is removed, which leads to nothing but trouble. Even though some Muslims believe pursuing the excess things of the material world is harmless, it is something the Holy Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, warned against in many narrations, such as the one found in Sahih Bukhari, number 3158. He warned that he did not fear poverty for Muslims. What he feared was that Muslims would pursue the excess of this material world, such as excess wealth, and this would cause them to compete with each other over it, and this would lead to their destruction. As warned in this narration, this was the behavior of the past nations. As the material world is limited, it is obvious that people would have to compete over it if they desired more than their necessities. This competition would cause them to adopt the characteristics which contradict the character of a true Muslim, such as envy and enmity for others. They would stop caring for each other, as they are too busy competing in gathering and hoarding the material world. And they would contradict the advice given in a narration found in Sahih Bukhari, number 6011, which advises that Muslims should act like one body. When any part of the body suffers from an illness, the rest of the body shares in the pain. This competition would drive a Muslim to stop loving for others what they love for themselves, which is a characteristic of a true believer, according to a narration found in Jami' at-Tirmidhi, number 2515, as they desire to outdo their fellow Muslims in worldly things. Persisting on this competition will cause a Muslim to love, hate, give and withhold all for the sake of the material world, instead of for the sake of Allah, the Exalted, which is an aspect of perfecting one's faith, according to a narration found in Sunan Abu Dawood, number 4681. This competition is the difference between the companions, may Allah be pleased with them, and many of the Muslims today. This attitude would prevent the Muslims from using the blessings they have been granted in ways pleasing to Allah, the Exalted. This would cause them to lose the support of Allah, the Exalted, which opens the door for their enemies to overpower them. If Muslims desire to regain the strength and influence Islam once had, they must strive and prioritize preparing for the hereafter over striving for obtaining, enjoying and hoarding the excess of this material world. This must occur from an individual level, until it affects the whole nation.